Welcome to Digital India Summit 2020, Enabling the New Normal, co-presented by Tata Consultancy Services. Now, Digital India Summit provides a foundation for driving India's evolution into a globally recognized digital economy and enables conversations and discourses in the search for digitally empowered solutions for present and future challenges. Today, we have a very special panel discussion lined up for you. Now, no commuting to office, no need to dress up, and flexible working hours. These are some of the benefits of working from home. But on the flip side, endless con calls, juggling home and work, and longer working hours. Some of the disadvantages that have led to it being labeled living at work. Now, the pros and cons will differ from person to person, but one thing that is common across industry is that work from home is the new normal. Our panel discussion will explore this new way of living.
Welcome to Digital India Summit 2020. We are enabling the new normal. We are the force behind the new normal. We are talking about the digital ecosystem that exists in India, and it has actually transformed everybody's life, including yours and mine. We have a very special panel of guests today who are going to focus on a very critical element of this new normal, which is the work from home ecosystem, how it is going to evolve, what are the permanent changes, what are the temporary changes, and what might happen to the overall enterprise ecosystem in India in the coming years. I have some very special guests with us. We are joined by Krishnan Ramanujam, President, Business and Technology Services, TCS. We are also joined by Anant Maheshwari, President, Microsoft India. And obviously, we cannot have this conversation without our very own Devjani Ghosh from NASCOM and Keshav Murugesh, Group CEO, WNS. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining us. Krishnan, I'll start with you because you have a very interesting campaign running right now, part of your story. But more than that, it's about transforming India. If we rewind this whole scenario to, let's say, Feb 2020 or March 2020, how prepared was TCS to undertake a transformation like this? One, at an organizational level, and two, from support level that you have extended to maybe rest of the industries.
This pandemic hit us like the rest of the world, like an express train that we did not expect, right? But as always, I am a very strong believer in the human spirit conquering all challenges. After all, we have evolved over centuries of evolutionary capabilities to adopt and adapt. And this case was no exception as well. So that optimism, basic optimism was there. And then, of course, the will of the people. We started taking step by step. Firstly, the most important thing was to ensure the safety and well-being of our people. So that was the biggest and the foremost priority and concern that we wanted to solve as a management team. Next came the priority in terms of making sure that our customers, their critical and essential services, how do we get it back on track and get them running without too much of an interruption. And from that point forward, gradually we increase the sophistication, leading to where we are today, where pretty much 90% plus of our business as usual today runs as if nothing happened. Right? So, like I said, it is a great testament to the people and our core capability to adopt and adapt.
Right. Devjani, my next question is for you. Can we say that government has also, I think, taken right steps at the right time by announcing special, I would say, incentives and policy initiatives for maybe further development of this entire work from home ecosystem and also support companies who are enabling this? What is your take on that?
Oh, absolutely, Mayor. In fact, what the pandemic has done is significantly strengthen the government industry partnership. Uh,
Hmm.
we have seen, the partnership coming together like never before, honestly, because, we worked together, and this wasn't industry or government, but we worked together to identify what are those areas which needs to be plugged, or what are those gaps which need to be plugged to ensure that our industry, the IT industry, which contributes, which used to contribute at that point to around 8% of Indian GDP, would be able to continue to do its work and employs 4 million people, would be able to continue to do its work while keeping employees safe. So the government has gone out of their way to work with us to understand the gaps, understand the weaknesses in the system, and then take quick decisions to address those gaps. So that's a huge takeaway and plus point of the pandemic.
Right. Keshav, this will probably play as a major game changer the way I would say Indian IT and BPTES system operates.
Absolutely, Mihir. So there's so much of confidence in terms of
Yeah.
how we managed the pandemic, how empathetic we were in terms of managing our employees, how partner-like we were in terms of interacting, with our clients. And therefore, I think at the end, as we reach the middle point or maybe towards the end of this pandemic, I think one message is very clear. When the world wants transformation, they come to India, right? And when the Indian government also looks for game-changing solutions, they again come to the IT world. It's all of us that they depended on to keep the lights on. So from our perspective, I'll tell you that the trifecta we operated extremely well at the start of the pandemic, making sure our clients were safe, making sure the employees' lights, our clients' lights were kept on. More importantly, our client intimacy has increased dramatically over the past few months. And I think with the changes that Debjani just underlined, the ability for us to, move to a work from anywhere kind of a model where customers, government are also very good stakeholders and employees have understood it is very high. And with digital transformation taking place across every one of our verticals, we believe the market is ripe for expansion.
Right. Anant, you and Microsoft India have been a very critical part of this transformation that we have seen happen so rapidly. Nobody could imagine this maybe 2-3 quarters back. Now, what is your key takeaway? The way businesses have transformed in India, what are the key trends that you have picked up if we were to do some sort of future prediction basis that?
So Mayor, I'll again build on the three comments that you've already heard. I think work from home or work from anywhere is a reality that we observe today. So it's the most obvious trend line. And of course, there's a lot of scenario planning now happening for the future. How much of this will come back, or will it come back completely? In what time period will it come back? So that's being done. But underlying this very obvious sort of front end are two broad technology trends that I feel will accelerate and scale, irrespective of which form of the hybrid work that comes through. The first amongst those technology trends is a cloud-enabled data and AI transformation. I think the leverage of data and AI to drive new growth, new decision making is going to be very, very obvious. And India, to Peter's point earlier, is uniquely positioned on this, because one is just for ourselves, using data and AI for ourselves as a country to transform healthcare, transform education, transform agriculture, but also then becoming the hub of the world where data and AI can actually then drive those capabilities for across the world. So that's the first trend line. The second trend line, which is now becoming even more relevant, is trust and security. Because now, as people are increasingly on these digital tools and they're using data and AI, I think building trust is very, very critical in this time. So very strong measures to drive cybersecurity, privacy, digital safety. All of these will become very normal parlance. So I think those two would be the big trend lines that I would see going forward, and they will accelerate irrespective of what hybrid scenario you take.
Right. Krishnan, would you like to add to that, the cyber security or the data analytics?
Absolutely. Cybersecurity is a very, very strong requirement. Today, evolved to a degree where the confidence, both as service providers, firms like ourselves, we do, as well as more importantly, the customers have trust in terms of the capability of the security tools that are today in place to safeguard themselves. So the other important trend line that I would like to add to what Anant already mentioned, management techniques. Right? Today, thanks to the new normal, managers have a very important necessity to focus on the well-being, both physical and mental well-being of the people. It's not enough just to focus on the productivity and making sure that our productivity is right, but from a long-term sustenance point of view, how do we make sure that the people's well-being is the second thing? Obviously, is the question of building the culture. Every organization is successful because of a culture which is largely driven by its people and the manner in which the various parts of the organization interacts with themselves and with the partners. So to crack the code on how do you protect and preserve that culture, which is actually what makes your enterprise tick, would be the other important thing that we probably need to focus on as a trend as we go forward.
Right. But Devjani, this question is for you from industry's point of view. This is one industry where constant innovation is required. And for that to happen, it can not only operate on digital ecosystem based on numbers and data analytics and cloud, it requires that human touch as well. What happens to the water cooler conversations or the elevator conversations, which are very critical part, I would say, of corporate culture?
You must discover the breakout rooms in Zoom and Microsoft Teams, and you will realize how they are used today. People say the one thing you have to get is we are extremely creative people and we are very resilient people and we adapt very fast. So, yes, we are adapting to a virtual world and we are finding tips and tricks in the virtual world to give us those connects. You look at any conference that happens today, where are
Mhm.
most of your audience in a virtual conference? They're in the networking communities, they're in the breakout
Yeah.
rooms. So they are figuring out ways to have conversations, and I don't think the conversations go away. But that said, I think all three of the speakers have highlighted this point. We are not going to be all virtual or all back in campus. Okay. Both
Yeah.
those extreme models are gone. We are going to arrive somewhere in the middle. Okay. It's going to be either 50-50 or 40-60 or 70-30. And I do believe that companies will discover competitive advantage in how they figure that balance out. So this is an individual decision that companies will have to make. There is no formula or there is no one shoe that fits all. There's no one size that fits all. They will have to decide. And I'm looking forward to it because I believe we've been given another opportunity here to shape our competitive advantages by figuring out how we want to build that hybrid model.
We have so far discussed about the large corporates and the industry level, but Anand, this one is for you. How about those smaller enterprises, the medium and small enterprises who are also part of the overall value chain when it comes to the entire IT industry in India? How are they dealing with this change?
So first up, there is a difference because in the large companies, they were already the infrastructure existed when the pandemic hit. It was more activating the infrastructure and working it to get to work from home, work remotely, collaborate in the pandemic. But for the many of the small and medium businesses, they were not prepared. They did not have the infrastructure. The skills did not exist. The infrastructure did not exist. So to me, that will become the driver of how the SMBs and the companies really transition to the future. And therefore, the topic I'd like to touch upon is a very relevant one for SMBs as much as it is for the large companies. Is skilling, digital skilling. I think
Right.
digital skilling will be the driver going forward that will bridge this divide. And that is something that we are very, very focused on because as a company, we picked that up and we realized many people were out of jobs. Many small companies were just figuring out what to do. So we launched this global skilling initiative, which Microsoft launched, and we leveraged all of our capabilities across LinkedIn, across GitHub, across Microsoft to pull together and literally said we bring a lot of our content free and easily accessible to at least create 25 million new digitally skilled people with jobs. To me, it's a larger movement, and therefore I'm expanding the remit of your question from just SMBs to the broader skill capability and skill gap in the country.
Right, and that's a very valid point. Keshav, now, when we combine this effort which is happening at an individual or a company level, and then on top of it, if you look at what government is doing, these two layers combined, can they really put India at, I would say, forefront of this whole so-called and much awaited industry revolution 4.0 and beyond? Because that is what is going to decide future of this industry as well as the economy.
Is the fact that the world actually sat up agog and saw all of these initiatives being driven across the whole industry, and that their operations never got impacted as a result, right? At the same time, when we worked with all our clients, we co-created unique solutions which were not in the rule book. So I would say we actually, created game changers, like moving from a BCP model to what I call a PCP, or a pandemic continuity planning model. I think the ability in many areas, we will be able to actually pull a lot of business that is lying in other geographies. That's first, into India because of the comfort. The second thing is, we are seeing a lot of conversations also with large companies who have created captives, now focusing on what is core to them and what should actually be given away to other third party players, saying, am I in the business of banking, healthcare, insurance, or am I in the business of managing a pandemic? Right? These guys are far better at it. So I think what will happen is clients will also start looking at what is core to them, and the rest they will give to people like us. I think the opportunity therefore is immense, and therefore when you look at India investing through some of the programs that the three speakers spoke about, Future Skills Prime, centers of excellence being created in technology across many states in India. All of this gives a lot of comfort that the resources, the investments, and the governmental support, is available, which will actually, hold us in very good stead for the long.
So very quickly, in fact, Anant or Krishnan, who may want to answer this, what about this critical challenge, the connectivity issues, because India also has a major geographical and I would say infrastructure divide between India and Bharat, as we call it. Krishnan, you want to go first?
So the challenge that you pointed out, Mihir, was the biggest question on our heads when I talked about back in March. If you asked me whether we would be in this place in November, I would have said probably not, right? And this was one of the biggest issues on our worry list at that time. But what we have been very pleasantly surprised by is how resilient our connectivity infrastructure has been. And of course, it has involved a lot of heroic efforts on the part of NASSCOM and other industry bodies as well. But equally importantly, on the part of the people who overcame significant challenges in being able to make do with the constraints. India is very famous for its frugal innovation. A lot of those frugal innovation things happened. And in the end, actually, it would be fair to say that the connectivity and related challenges were not that big a stumbling block at all when we look back 9 months down the line. Anand, what do you think?
No, so I'll echo that, Krishnan. Situation for every home is different. And I think that somebody very famously said, we are all in the same storm, but each of us is on our own boat. In one boat, you may have just one person who is using that bandwidth and therefore is able to work very productively. But in another boat and another home, there are 6 people who are trying to study, to work, to communicate, to even take care of somebody in a hospital while you are still stuck at home. So therefore, how you manage inside that boat, inside the home, is a very big part of the divide that we don't obviously talk about. And that's just brings me to the topic that I thought we should discuss in today's discussion is just mental well-being. Because each of us have gone through that period in the last 8 months, including me, where there have been days where I would have said, when will this end? This has to end. And it's challenging during that time. So I think all companies are moving to that appreciation, that mental well-being, and what you do with that is very critical. Krishnan referred to that right in the beginning as to what the company is doing. TCS is doing a lot of good work there. Every company is doing that. We actually have put so many more policies during this time because we realized a couple of them that just come to note and reflects a big change. To me, those are changes of the divide that we'll have to really work through during this time, because that divide is not obvious. It happens on a daily basis amongst people. And it should also then reflect in the technology innovation. So we are talking about Microsoft Teams a little while back. We are actually working that into a human-centric and empathetic-centric design, where a lot of people said, I'm missing that commute in the morning to office and that commute back from the office, because it's in that time I used to think about what am I going to do today. I used to run that calendar in my head, maybe call two people and get ready for the office when I walked in. So there's lots of innovation that's happening today, which also will, I think, help this human digital interface that we have truly experienced in the last 8 months.
Right. Why? Now I'm leading into my last question for all of you. Devjani, I'll start with you. Knowing human beings the way we are, obviously, some of these changes which are happening will be permanent when it comes to work from home or the way industry operates. But at some point, the world will get immune. There will be vaccine. People will once again start moving out. Probably will be hopefully done with second, third, or whatever wave that the world is in. At that point, do you see some sort of normalcy coming back to the work culture where people would prefer going back to work, or will companies adapt to this normal more aggressively simply because it helps you save cost, and more than saving cost, it helps you invest more productively in areas where a company should be investing?
First, Mayor, I don't think we have seen the end of change or there is any finishing line to change. I think the kind of industry we are in, we thrive on change and change will continue to happen. So I refuse to call anything the new normal. I just call it the next normal, because right after that, there'll be
Right.
another one. There'll be another next normal. So, the past is the past. We have to figure out how to learn from it and then let it go, say a fond farewell. And we have to look forward to what's next and what are the opportunities that change will bring.
Absolutely, absolutely. Keshav, you want to add to that?
I think what is going to happen is that with the great experience of COVID-19 and the kind of legislative changes making work from home permanent, I think state governments will now very seriously start looking at their IT policies very differently and will start competing with each other to get our investments.
Absolutely. Christian, your closing remarks?
In terms of the work from home thing, I think that is something that's here to stay. But like the others said, it will not be all or none, right? So now work from home,
Right.
work from anywhere will be part of the standard operating procedure. The second thing that I would add is the fact that now the ability of companies to offer support to remote workers, both in terms of technology infrastructure, in terms of enabling mechanisms such as trust, confidence, security, and so on and so forth. Thirdly, the ability to take care of employees from a mental welfare and physical welfare point of view. And last but not the least, the confidence that the experience of having gone through and by and large having conquered the challenge of this epidemic, the confidence that it has given to many companies and the industry at large is probably the biggest takeaway from my point of view. And while I mentioned that, I also want to take a moment to remember the many who actually did not survive this crisis. Right? It is on the strength of their sacrifice. So I'll offer a prayer to them and their families and thank them for their sacrifices. But at the end of the day, industry and mankind will continue to adapt, adopt, and continue on this evolutionary journey of advancement.
Very well said. And obviously, life has to move on. But this has been a wonderful conversation, and I think a sort of a good crystal ball gazing exercise for us. Hopefully, next time when we meet in Digital India Summit, it will be in person and not necessarily virtually. But till then, please stay safe. Thank you for being part of this conversation. Thank you.
That brings us to the close of this interesting discussion here at Times Network's Digital India Summit 2020, Enabling the New Normal, co-presented by Tata Consultancy Services. But do tune in next week, where we'll be in conversation with the Honorable Minister of Law and Justice, Electronics and Information Technology and Communications, Shri Ravi Shankar Prasad, who will be talking about how technology has enabled the government to fight the pandemic. Thank you so much for watching.